What's good, Detroit Sports Nation? I am Eric Vincent, your host here at the DSN News Desk. Thank you for being here. We appreciate your time and support. Fresh off another Detroit Piston matchup tonight against the Chicago Bulls. Finished up in a loss, but a very close game, even outside the double-digit score. 132 to 118 was the final score, 14-point deficit. But again, it was a close game, really through about three and a half quarters, maybe a little less than half. But the Pistons started off pretty good. It was a pretty nip-and-tuck game, for the majority of the whole while until the fourth quarter got around. And Pistons didn't keep the same energy and the same kind of discipline that they had through the first three quarters. They weren't playing with the same rhythm offensively. Defensively, they weren't really good, really the whole game, honestly, but they were at least able to make up for it with timely buckets and, big shots when they needed them off the rip. So, they weren't able to keep that going in the fourth quarter. The Bulls scored 37 points in the fourth. Pistons only got 26, and it was a little rough to watch. Again, it was fun. It was only, I think, a 3-point deficit by the time the fourth quarter started, so up until 3 quarters through the first 3, just got to a 3-point deficit, and the Pistons weren't able to keep the lead and keep the momentum that they had built through much of the game. I mean, they were getting some pretty good performances around. This is the first game outside of Killian Hayes and Hamidou Diallo's suspensions. This is the first game of their suspensions, and the Pistons, for the most part, played pretty inspired, up from the first 3 quarters. So, got a 22-point night from Jaden Ivey. Played pretty efficient for the most part. 6 of 10 shooting, 6 assists, and pretty fairly good job in terms of expectations of being able to be the primary ball handler with Killian Hayes off the floor. So, he's had a lot of inflated expectations and responsibility, and we'll talk a little bit about that as we keep on talking about the game. But again, 22 points from Ivy, 20-point night from Bogey, 8 of 19 from the floor, 16 from Beef Stew, also went with 10 rebounds. Quiet night for Sadiq Bey with only 10 points. Again, the off and on inconsistencies continue for him. My Keep Alec Burks campaign continues to look strong as he poured in 19 points for the Pistons. A super efficient shooting night for him as well, with 7 of 9 from the floor. Just love watching him play, man. He's such a good compliment for this team. And what we've seen a lot throughout the season, at least from recently, was the Pistons closing out with Burks on the floor in the fourth quarter. The Pistons did something different tonight and tried to lean on Jaden Ivey instead. We've seen a lot of fourth quarters where he's had to be the primary scorer for the Pistons in the fourth quarter in terms of Alec Burks. Jaden Ivey has spent a lot of time, as of late over the last couple weeks, on the bench, not necessarily closing out games, but watching Alec Burks perform and close out games. So in this game, it wasn't horrible in the fourth quarter, but it wasn't the same type of efficiency and, playmaking and scoring prowess that we saw earlier throughout the game for him. The Pistons just don't look like a crisp or clean or established team in the fourth quarter. They look very unorganized. They go through lots of stretches where they just play a lot of unorganized one-on-one basketball, where it's either Bogey going one-on-one or Jaden trying to get past somebody or Sadiq trying to get past somebody. Like, it's just very unorganized. They don't run a lot of pin downs. They don't run a whole lot of pick and roll basketball when they need to keep the momentum going. They kind of did by the time it got to like a 10-point deficit in the fourth quarter, but by that time it was too late. So it was really kind of hard to watch them do that in the fourth quarter. And for me, I feel like these are the kind of games where the Detroit Pistons really miss Cade Cunningham the most. Having your floor general, having a point guard that is a very good playmaker that can get you in spots to, score and be productive, I think they're really showing how much they miss him in games like this because, now granted, Cade is still a young player, but he showed that he could be one of the most clutch players in the NBA. Even when his lineup isn't, super stacked with, extreme talent around him, he's still good enough to draw attention away from defenders for his teammates to create layups and shots and opportunities for them. And now that he has more help around him, unfortunately he's not on the floor, but with a guy like Jalen Duren, with Jaden Ivey, who I think will spend a lot more time off ball when Cade comes back, you'll be able to see the real potential for this team in terms of what they're looking for. Because like when Jaden Ivey plays sloppy in the fourth quarter, I don't hold a whole lot of that against him, because when Cade is on the floor in fourth quarters and in crunch time, or when you need, the Pistons to pick up their momentum, you're going to want the ball to be in Cade's hands. So like even when he started the year off, when Jaden Ivey really started on a pretty hot streak, he was splitting a lot of time with Cade. He wasn't the primary ball handler the majority of the game. And I think that kind of weighs on him at times. And being able to have Cade compliment you and have the ability to play off ball, I think is going to serve Jaden Ivey better. And I think that's when you're going to see him at his best next to Cade Cunningham. So, Jaden Ivey has taken a lot of criticism for how he's played in terms of, with his playmaking and some of the sloppy play that he has shown as a rookie. I don't look too much into it, because when Cade is on the floor, he'll have less responsibility on his plate, and he'll be able to thrive and play a lot more free instead of, being so focused on being the primary facilitator and ball handler for the Detroit Pistons. I think that responsibility is weighing on him sometimes. That's what it looks like a little bit. And it will be normal for a rookie. Like, I don't hold too much of that against him. He's shown that he can be effective. He's shown that he has a lot of promise and a high ceiling. And I'm still happy that Jaden Ivey's on this team. So, again, these are just the games where it makes me miss Cade Cunningham. And even going back to Alec Burks, you would see him in the fourth quarter playing as the more methodical guard that would get buckets down the stretch to keep the Pistons in the game. They keep Jaden Ivey, they've kept him on the bench for a lot of those possessions in games. And as a rookie, that can be helpful for him, but I am happy that he got an opportunity to show that or at least work towards showing that he can close and play in fourth quarter stretches where the Pistons need him to be at his best. And it's important for him to go through those games and, moments like these for tonight for a young player like him. So, I'm happy he got that chance. Hopefully we can see a change and a little bit of progression moving forward throughout his rookie season. But there was a lot to see in this game. I mean, defense was pretty bad all around. They allowed 43 points to Zach LaVine, shot 15 of 20 from the field. 22 for DeMar DeRozan. He had a pretty big fourth quarter. Vucevic gave him trouble in the paint. Even when Jalen Duren had a hand in his face, he still did a good job of, answering good defense with better offense. And, it was a pretty tough game we watched back and forth. Again, Chicago hasn't really been at their best this season, but they are a team that's in this division. They aren't the best matchup for the Pistons, considering how much experience they have and athleticism. And something that the Pistons struggle with is perimeter athleticism, especially on the defensive end with their wings. So, they kind of had trouble defending against DeMar DeRozan and defending against Zach LaVine. Watch them play in transition, they weren't really able to keep up with them throughout the game. So, kind of tough game for the Pistons. Again, considering how young they are, considering the experience of a team like Chicago, I expect this to be a tough game for them. And considering they did pretty good through the first three quarters, I'm not going to freak out too much on them on the fourth. But again, this is what you see and learn and watch from young teams as they grow. So these are the kind of things you see. This is the kind of growing pains that they got to go through to become a true contender in the East, in the NBA. These are the games you go through when it happens. Talk to me in the comment section, though. I'd love to hear from you about your thoughts on the game. What do you think about the Pistons and their final score against the Chicago Bulls? Love to hear from you in the comment section. Make sure you like the channel. Make sure you like the video. Subscribe to the channel as we ramp up on our way to get to 6,000 subscribers. Getting closer and closer every day as we put out this content here at DSN. Help us make that happen and subscribe to the channel. We would really appreciate that support. Make sure you tap in on our social media as well. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all of the above. Search and follow Detroit Sports Nation, and follow me as well at I am Eric Vincent. Thank you all so much for tuning in and showing your support. I greatly appreciate it, and I'll see you again right here soon with another update from the DSN News Desk. Peace.